Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing with finding patterns when we multiply binomials. There's a third pattern that's going to be important that you understand. Now remember, these patterns are there for helping us in the future. We're discovering them right now. Alright, so just like with last time, I'd like you to try to discover the pattern on your own. So go through using the claw method or FOIL and go ahead and solve these out. I'll help you with the first one. A times A is A squared. A times 3 is 3A. Negative 3 times A is negative 3A. And negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Simplify that. These two here are like terms, and they are going to disappear. They cancel each other out. And we are left with a squared minus 9. So go ahead and finish the other problems, and then we'll see if we can find the pattern. All right, so take a look. Make sure you solve them all correctly. And did you notice a pattern? Well, if you look at the original problems, you always have one that's subtracting and one that's adding. One subtracting, one adding. One adding, one subtracting. All right, so that's the first thing that I'm noticing. The other thing I notice is all my answers only have two terms. The middle term is always canceling out, and that's because there's one positive and one negative. One positive and one negative. So the trick to these, to solving them quickly, the pattern, is that you are simply going to take the first number and square it, and subtract the second number squared. We don't have to do the first number times the second number times 2 like we had to do in the other problems, because we have one positive and one negative. And so that middle term there is disappearing. So again, you're going to take the first number and square it minus the second number squared every time. Let's take a look at an example. So this is called the product of a sum and a difference. So you have one sum and you have one difference. So you take the first number and you square it, and then you always have a minus sign, and then you have the second number squared. Now notice every single time you have to make sure that you're actually the same first and second numbers. The only difference is one is adding and one is subtracting. Try the second one. First number squared minus second number. It's a pretty easy pattern, don't you think? All right. Let's practice our patterns a little bit more. Which ones are like the ones that we learned today? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Numbers 1 and number 2 are just like the ones we learned today. So we would solve them by taking the first number and squaring it minus the second number squared. The first number and squaring it minus the second number squared. Numbers 3 and 4 are like the ones we did yesterday. So remember, you take the first number and square it. Then you take the first number times the second number, which would be 80A, and you multiply it by 2, so that gives me 160A. And that middle term is subtraction because of that subtraction sign. And then you take the second number and you square it. Let's do the last one. First number squared. This is going to be a plus sign. First number times second number, that's 4AB, times 2, so 8AB. Second number squared. All right, so hopefully you're getting the hang of these patterns here. And remember, you don't need to show any work. Okay, we're just doing the patterns here. So for homework, we're going to do the even problems. It gives you, I think, 9 problems if I counted correctly. And that's about it. Have a good night.